Look, detectives combing through the hood looking for a corpse. Draco hitting, I don't think your body can endure the force. I whipped the fish up with a fucking hanger or a fork. Told that bitch, go ahead, sniff what you want, there's plenty more to snort. I had an outstanding warrant for a short. Turned myself in, rocking Louis and all my jewelry, I wore the court.
So, well, first off, I'll introduce myself. My name's Nick Icardi. I'm a Marine veteran. Deployed a couple of times, got out of the military, and now we live in this fucking freak show of a world where we don't know what side's fucking left or what side's right or what's north and what's south, because dudes want to cut off their dicks now and flip it open and make it a vagina, and girls want to be called guys, and you tell me. I mean, you're out on the street, guy. I see you doing your thing.
Yeah, so I got a show that we just started on the Drinkin' Bros Podcast Network called Street Gonzo, and this is the
I see you. Nice.
That's the shirt there that we're using to promote it. It's my mug shot. And actually, dude, on the back of this, I don't know if you can see that, but Ross Patterson, he's my boss, had me write down my entire rap sheet and put it all down the back of the shirt. It's kind of like, you know how back in the 80s bands would have tour T-shirts? You know, when they
yeah, that's what I was thinking it was.
That's pretty much what we base the idea off of. But so basically, I do a man on the street show called Street Gonzo. It's partially man on the street interviews, partially Gonzo journalism, and then kind of like a combination of Jackass and Insomniac. With
is that all
Attell.
you? That was all you that put that together, or do you have a team?
So let me lay this out for you before we get into all the juicy shit. So the idea actually was Dan Holloway's. He's another one of the guys here. He's also technically my boss.
He's a fucking brain, huh?
Yeah, he's a very intelligent person.
I see that, dude.
I'll just drag this all the way back to when I was in college, and I'll just make it easy for people to have a background on me that don't know me already. So I went to UT for journalism, and while I was there, I was doing sort of like basic news packages, covering little tiny events. They were boring, so I told my teachers, hey, I would rather do man on the street stuff. So let me go out and do things my way. They were kind of pushed back against it, but I did it anyway. So I started doing man on the street interviews. I would cover protests and stuff like that right before lockdown. I actually started out interviewing. I did some podcasts with some hookers and homeless people, because we had really what started it was there was a camping ordinance here in Austin where they let homeless people camp wherever the fuck they wanted, and a homeless guy tried to stab me at a gas station because I was standing up for this, like 19-year-old girl pumping gas, and he was harassing her. And I thought, well, we got to figure out what the hell is really going on. What's really happening with homeless people? Are they actually down on their luck? Are they drug addicts? Are they insane? And it's sort of a combination of everything. But I started doing man on the street like that, and then I interned with Michael Cargill, who Michael Cargill is the short, stocky black dude, always wearing a red shirt. He owns Central Texas Gunworks. And right when I met him, I interned for him for college credit, and it was right around the time that he was going to be suing the ATF and the Department of Justice for bump stocks. And I started producing for him with this internship, and I turned that into a field reporter position where I was going out doing man on the street stuff, and then that turned into a executive producer position. This was an AM radio show at the time, and for years I worked with him on producing content to promote the court case. It was at the 5th District for Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi or Oklahoma. I forget what it is. So I was producing stuff for him for years, and then I finally convinced him that AM terrestrial radio was dead. So we created a podcast we shot in the gun shop, and then doing that, I blew up all of his clips. I mean, we got probably close to 90 million clips on shorts, or views on shorts, over like an 8 or 9 month period of time. And then I sort of parted ways with him because actually my last day working for him was the day that we got the decision from the Supreme Court of the United States that we had beat the ATF. And so, yeah, my background is primarily in guns. But no, I cannot say that I was a veteran or anything like that, because I actually tried to join the military, the Marines specifically, in college because, like I said, I was going for journalism, and I was getting pushback from my teachers, and they were they're very liberal, and they didn't like the way that I talked. They didn't like the way that I did things. It was the most lonely I have ever felt in my life was going to college. I did have a couple teachers that I really liked, even the ones that disagreed with me. I had Jim Spencer.
But they could still talk to you? They could still talk to you?
Yeah. I had a teacher, Jim Spencer, who he created the company called Newsy. It's an app that's on a lot of TVs, smart TVs. And I wrote a 10-page business plan for him about a podcast idea I had called Faust and Furious. And he told me that I was the only student in the class that was going to be able to make $1 million doing this. He kind of pulled me aside and said that. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud now, but who gives a shit?
Oh, I bet that felt good, dude.
So he was one of my original mentors. And then I also had another professor who I shout out because even though he disagrees with probably almost everything I say, anytime I have some sort of question of journalistic integrity, he always fucking responds to me immediately, and that's Robert Quigley. So shout out to him. But a lot of my teachers it was very stressful, and when I say stressful, I don't mean stressful in the traditional sense. It was emotionally exhausting because I was very alone. I had just my second week at UT. I had a kid in California,
Jesus.
And
you don't slow down, dude.
Yeah, and I had trouble finding housing when I first moved to Austin because I have a diverted felony, so I got declined a lot of housing, and it just was a lot of shit all at the same time. But I hear you. And anyway, so I got through all that shit. Worked for Cargill for a long time, and then when we won that court case, that was my last day working for him because we just sort of had different directions creatively. He's very old school. It took me 4 fucking years to convince him that terrestrial radio was dead to do a podcast. And then once I got hold of it, we blew it up, and he just wanted to do things his way, and I want to do things my way. Oh. And then that's when Dan hit me up, and he had seen some of my Man on the Street stuff, some of my podcast
Dan hit
stuff.
you up?
What do you mean?
Like he reached out to you? That's big, dude.
Well,
come on.
I had already known Dan through Giggle Boys, this podcast hosted by 2 comedians that I used to, because when I graduated college, while I was working for Cargill at Come and Talk It, that's the name of the show, by the way, that we were doing, the YouTube channel. But when I was working for him, I was also running my production company called Faust Media. We've done some commercials. We helped with a Black Rifle Coffee commercial. We helped with a Hop Dottie commercial with Brent Pella. We did some podcasts back in the day. I did Faust News, where I would sit at a desk and do sort of honestly, people told me it reminded him of Alex Jones. But
let me ask you this. What now? You're throwing some big shit out there, dude. What do you bring to the table for value?
So I built a full-blown studio in my attic, right? And it was a podcast incubator. That's what I call it. And so I was producing media for people and helping people with social media, but I was also producing podcasts. That's what I like the most, other than Man on the Street stuff, because that's just in my nature, I guess. But basically, we blew up this podcast called Giggle Boys, and Drinkin' Bros found it, and they picked it up. And then their first episode, I came in, and that's when I sort of got acquainted with Drinkin' Bros. But prior to that, there's a guy, one of the first big interviews I ever did was John McAfee, who is now dead. And I got the tattoo to
there you go.
Memorialize him. I did a bunch of podcasts with him, of which only one actually remains. YouTube deleted some. I lost one at a strip club.
Dude, how interesting is that guy?
He's the best. He put me onto a lot of game. Even off camera, I talked to him about a bunch of stuff. But so that was the biggest first interview I did was with McAfee. I responded to a tweet, talked to his wife. They did a podcast. But after that, I did one with, or even it might have been prior to that. It was one of the first big interviews I did was with a guy named Maj Toure, who runs Black Guns Matter.
Okay.
And he brought me to CPAC. And when I went to CPAC, I interviewed a ton of people. Ian Smith from Jersey, Attillis Jim, and those interviews, and Kim Klasick was another one. That's how Dan saw who I was online.
Gotcha.
And then when I brought Giggle Boys over there, Dan and I started talking, and then this is years ago, dude. And over a period of time, I produced comedy for a long time.
Is Giggle Boys straight comedy?
Yeah, it was. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
But it basically, between that time that I brought Giggle Boys here and now, I was producing comedy podcasts, comedy specials. JP Sears, I helped do his special. Anyways, I'm not trying to just tell you everything I've ever done.
No, I'm interested though.
It's all part of this meandering story of it all got me to this point where eventually when I was out of a job, Dan, because I quit working for Cargill before I had a new job, Dan was like, well, come over to Drinking Bros, cut some clips. The first 2 weeks I was here, I cut a bunch of clips, got 2 million views, and they were like, fuck it, you're hired. And then Dan asked me, hey, can you also do like a 2 or 3 minute segment, man on the street style, for Drinking Bros Fake News every Thursday at 2 p.m.? And I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, why not? So Joel, my producer, who he's a genius in his own right, and I tell people this all the fucking time, Joel is 70% of the show. He's a fucking goddamn genius. And I am not saying that lightly. Joel is a genius. He could make me taking a shit cinema. And I'm not even kidding. In fact, we do that on the Vegas episode that's coming out on Friday. There's a part where I'm actually taking a shit, and he makes it just a phenomenal watch. But yes. my whole point was just that they had us do, the way Street Gonzo came to be was they had us go out and do this segment, and we went out in Austin on a Tuesday night because we're based in Austin, and there was nobody downtown. So Joel and I were like, what the fuck do we do? This is a kind of a big opportunity for me to make something cool for somebody. Sure. And so Joel was like, dude, let's just make a fucking trailer for a fake TV show. So we went out and just did a bunch of crazy shit, brought it back on Thursday, and Ross goes, they play the show. We didn't tell them what it was. They play the fucking clip. And Ross goes, we told you to go out and get street interviews, and this is what you fucking brought back? We fucking love it. So we went back out that night. And because it was funny, Ross loved it. And Dan was like, Dan's not Dan secretly loves me. He has a soft spot for me, but he pretty much hates everybody else. So he was like,
I love that about him.
Yeah, he's the best. We need more people like that. We need more stern fathers of the community. But so Ross loved it, and Dan goes, yeah, that's great. But how about you actually do what I fucking told you to do and go get some fucking interviews? So we went back downtown that Thursday night with no plan, and we just ran around and interviewed people. And Joel was, I don't know what, but he sat down and that same night, didn't go to bed for probably, I'd say 20 hours straight, and just made the pilot episode without even telling me. And he goes, hey, here's what I got. He shows me it, and I'm like 5 minutes into watching it, and I'm like, how long is this? And he goes, oh, it's like 13 minutes. So unbeknownst to anyone, Joel just made this pilot episode of the show, and we showed it to Dan and Ross fucking shit himself. He goes, this is Jackass meets Dave Attell's Insomniac, and we're going to give this a flyer for the next, couple months. Now we're doing it till the end of the year. But yeah, they fucking loved it. So now what we do, instead of making a 2 or 3 minute segment each week, we make anywhere from, I think the shortest one is Detroit, because there wasn't much to record in Detroit, depressing place, but the episode's still pretty fucking good. Anywhere from 11 minutes to 30 minutes, we make a full YouTube show, and we cut a segment out for the podcast for Fake News on Thursdays. Our show comes out Fridays at 5 p.m. Street Gonzo. And that's how it came to be. Dude, I love every time I go on a podcast, I love how I'm like, yeah, let me give you a quick synopsis of how I got here. And we're 15 minutes in. I'm such a self-indulgent, narcissistic douchebag. I don't know why anybody deals with me. But yeah, that's how it happened. The person that came up with the name was actually Dan. I think he wanted it to be Gonzo News originally.
He's the Hunter S. Thompson fan.
Yeah, I am too, but Joel is actually a huge admirer of his work. He actually has he's reading one of Hunter S. Thompson's books right now. He has it on his desk. He's been reading it for a long time. He's not a good, he's a slow reader.
Got him.
He dropped out of school, but and I'm a fan of Hunter Thompson, but I don't know a ton about him. I've only read a couple of his books. Weirdly enough, I haven't even finished Fear and Loathing. I'm only probably halfway.
You give off
the
vibe though, bro. You definitely, people that think that way, they give off a certain vibe, and you can just tell that's how they are. You know what I mean?
Well, that's funny that you say that, because when I was in college, I had one of the teachers I was telling you about, they gave me a lot of pushback. She got mad about a video I did, and she goes, because they told me I could cover this Reopen America rally that InfoWars was doing. And they said the only way that you're allowed to do it is if you wear a mask the whole time. And I was like, fuck that. But I abided because they were basically already letting me break the rules of what the video, the school project was supposed to be. And I went and did it. When I brought the video back, she goes, Gary, because I think I ended up taking the mask off or something. And she goes, Gary, I don't care what you do after you graduate. You can go work for Breitbart. You can go do this or that. But while you're here, you need to abide by our rules. You can be Ernest Hemingway. You can be Hunter S. Thompson. You can be whoever. But right now, you need to abide by the rules, which I didn't do, of course. I mean, I'll abide by a few of them. But I mean, she was a nice lady. I'm not trying to bash her. But the email that she sent me, I had it printed out for a while because it was funny that she compared me to Ernest Hemingway and Hunter S. Thompson, two people that have killed themselves. And who were rebellious in their craft.
That's what I mean.
So, but yeah, I always got the two people I've always been compared to over and over and over and over ad nauseum at this point have been Hunter Thompson and Alex Jones, which is funny because I don't think I have ever watched a full broadcast of InfoWars. They're so fucking long.
Let me ask you this. Both people you just described, dynamic personalities. You know what I'm saying? Certain things had to happen in their lives to kind of mold that and keep them on that trajectory. I mean, what's yours, dude? How did you keep the mindset that you have right now? Even just to understand conservative ideology, you know what I'm saying? You have to have somewhat of a brain to understand why the importance of things to be done the right way. Otherwise, they cause a bunch of other shit to happen, basically. Now, to keep that mindset going, I mean, you said just there in college, you were around a bunch of, different liberal. I'm sure. I mean, I talk to multiple different people that go to college nowadays, and they say a lot of their professors are all liberal-minded or
ultra liberal. It's out of control. The Overton window has shifted so far left that if you're of a libertarian mindset like myself, I would say slightly conservative, but I'm liberal on other things like abortion, for example. And if you even have any conservative notions to your thought process, they sort of ostracize you.
Oh, facts.
College is a fucking scam. Nobody should go to college, period. Unless you're like
go to college for journalism?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, dude. So originally, all right, let's go back into where I come from. Okay, so I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I grew up while the heroin boom was actually way worse than it is now, but it was before fentanyl. So before a lot of fentanyl.
Which is better.
Well, when I say worse before...
Fentanyl wiped my area out, dude.
Where are you from?
Boston.
Yeah, right. So Ohio was the worst state hit, and Cincinnati, the county in Cincinnati is fucking... I forget what it is, but the county of Cincinnati and then Cleveland... Erie County, I think, and then Montgomery County is Ohio. Those were the worst hit places. I'm from Montgomery County, Dayton, Ohio, and when I say it was worse before, I mean the spread. Everybody was doing heroin. Everybody was doing heroin. Now, there's more deaths, possibly. I'm not even sure, but it's because of the lethality of fentanyl, which is all coming from China and is absolutely part of their plan to destroy America. I'm not.
Well, you're going kind of conservative there, bro.
I'm going conspiracy. It's fucking China is absolutely trying
to
kill and brainwash Americans. TikTok's also a total bullshit scam, as is COVID, but that's another thing. While I was growing up there, I started doing heroin. I wasn't shooting it, but I was snorting it and smoking it. And I didn't start doing that until I was probably 17. But
so you were the bougie user.
There was a lot of what do you mean?
You weren't tooting it. That's what they call people that only snort and they don't shoot it. They call that the bougie user.
Well, my thing was that I didn't want to fucking slam anything because I was worried about getting
Hep, anything like that? Yeah, of course.
Hep C, basically. Basically, when I was growing up, my first friend died from a heroin overdose when I was 14, and then there was a bunch after that, Xanax ODs, all sorts. I just had a lot of friends dying from drug overdoses, and then when I was
Same here, bro.
18 or 19, I got hit with a felony breaking and entering. We robbed my neighbors, but it was a house under construction. I would never look.
It doesn't count.
That's what I said, dude. Anyways, basically, I was so deep into the drug game and, I wouldn't consider myself like a heavy criminal, but I was like a petty criminal. That
just supporting the habit.
When I got hit with here's the thing. Actually, it's funny you say that. We stole all that shit because I was friends with a bunch of guys in a band, and they were trying to get me to sing for their band, and I was like, well, I got an idea. We'll steal a bunch of shit, and then we can buy all the equipment. It was my idea. But it was always petty crimes. That's the only thing I really did that was bad. I mean, I used to drink and drive a lot, and I did a ton of drugs. I'd steal shit, but I was never like armed robbery. I've been in some fights, but I was never doing really bad, heinous shit to people. You know what I mean? And anytime that I did get into something that was little heavier, it was with bad people. It wasn't.
Of course, it's all about who you surround yourself with, dude.
I'm not trying to shirk responsibility, but it is about who you're surrounding yourself with. So basically, I got put on this diversion program because I was looking at 3 years in prison, if I remember correctly. And I was this skinny.
This is all in Ohio?
Yeah, this is in Dayton. I was a skinny ass white kid. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get fucking murdered in prison. So I need to get on my fucking A game here, stay out of trouble. So I was on this diversion program, went and worked on my grandpa's farm out in Indiana, and I saved up a bunch of money. I mean, I worked there, it had to have been 5 or 6 months, damn near straight, like going home to my mom's, staying there, saved up like $3,000 or $4,000, and I just got it all in cash, taped it to my foot, and then got a duffel bag and a suitcase, got on the Amtrak in Cincinnati, and went straight to LA. 3-day train ride, got out there, studied film, and then when I came, a bunch of other crazy shit happened. I ended up living in Nashville for a while and working on Luke Bryan's house, of all people, he's kind of a prick, but to me, I was a carpenter apprentice on his house. You know, he doesn't know me from nobody, but
still, dick's a dick, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I just, dude, we worked on Christmas. We were working on, dude, this is going to get me in trouble with somebody, but we were working.
First of all, what makes you work on Christmas?
Well, listen. We had the option basically to work overtime on Christmas, so I chose to do it. But I was working on Christmas on Luke Bryan's barn, and he was outside smoking up like thousands of dollars of meat, and we were inside cooking our lunches on tinfoil on top of a mushroom heater. And he never offered us anything. He didn't even offer us a fucking beer.
He wasn't feeling you guys, huh?
And I remembered thinking, if I ever blow up, get famous, get rich, and somebody's working overtime, even by choice, on my house, I'm offering them everything that I have, because it made me think that Luke Bryan was such a fucking douchebag. Of course.
All it takes is you to go through a situation like that once.
Yeah, man. And I don't know, dude. I'm a big forgive and forget kind of guy.
Gotta be, dude.
Whatever. That's a side tangent. Point is, I ended up in Texas studying journalism, and I originally wanted to study film. That's why I chose UT, because it was between UCLA, Florida State, and UT. And when I was a kid, I was a huge Doors fan. I loved Jim Morrison. He was sort of an idol of mine.
Great choice.
And he went to Florida State, so I thought it was cool, you know, for the lore. And I was like, but that's actually a stupid reason to go to school somewhere. So it's either UCLA or UT. I looked at Austin. I said, population's booming, tech scene, art scene. Texas, I agree with their gun laws and a lot of the way that they operate in a red state. It's Austin's liberal in a red state. So Blue Star in the red state, you get the best of both worlds. You get the artsy fartsy people who are very creative, but they can be kind of pretentious and vote, you know, for people that go against me. But then again, I get the rest of the state. You got Mexicans. I fucking love Mexican people. I grew up Catholic, so Mexicans and I are like, we get along like that. Or I go to LA, where I'm a small fish in a big pond. There's way more opportunities, but it might not fit my MO. So I chose UT to study film. I got in, and I realized there's no way I can keep up with these film people. They already have portfolios. Their reels are incredible. I'm going to do something that's somewhere between, because I got an English degree from Santa Barbara Community College. And I was like, well, I'm good at writing, sort of, but I'm not good enough to be like an actual, like to write a fucking book. And I'm not good enough at film, so what can combine the two? Multimedia journalism. That's why I chose that.
Mark, you got a personality.
Is that even what you asked me? I don't even fucking remember, dude. I ramble.
No, we just started talking. I mean, it's good to know who I'm dealing with here, because you have a certain vibe to you, dude, and the vibe that you get or that you put off, it takes you going through a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to really understand a lot of things to like put off a lot of the things. That's what I get from you, at least. It shows me you've had a life.
The single most defining event experience of my life was after I graduated college. I bought a house to start a business. Right. I helped my mom run a business. Okay. And when I bought that house, I turned the upstairs room, the attic, essentially the attic. It's not really the attic; it's like a loft. Okay. It's like somebody that you know how people finish their garage. It was like a finished attic. But I turned it into a podcast studio. I started doing podcasts, and then basically I did a podcast with a girl named Kiana Kumani. She works in porn. She used to dress up like Dora the Explorer and do OnlyFans type stuff. And my baby mama saw that podcast, or somebody in her family saw it, and they said, "Your baby daddy's a piece of shit, and we don't think he should see his son anymore." Fuck? So they basically prevented me from seeing my kid after that. And,
off a podcast?
Yeah, because I got drunk and was telling her, I'll put a Boots costume on and
whatever, dude. I mean, it's a podcast.
I agree. And ironically enough, they actually used a bunch of my other podcast stuff against me in court. But the point is that
they're doing that now, dude.
Dude, yeah. They did the same thing to Alex Jones, funny enough. But that was when my son was taken away from me. It fucked me up real bad.
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
And there was some stuff that happened before that with her that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to throw her business out there.
I get it.
Anything that's related to my son, I try to keep relatively private, but I will bitch about my baby mama on camera. It's only right. But that was a huge thing for me. And then also the thing I was telling you about, I got that felony and I was looking at 3 years in prison at a young age as a skinny white kid from the suburbs of Dayton. I grew up lower middle class. My dad's very fucking blue collar. I wouldn't say he's poor, but he's lower blue collar money. My mom's middle class. My mom worked her ass off forever.
A good day is a full tank of gas and a pack of cigarettes? Pretty
much, dude. My dad, after school, would pick us up from school. He'd be like an hour late every time, show up in a wife beater in a fucking, dude. Okay, one time my dad shows up at school to pick me up. He's like 40 minutes late. He's wearing a wife beater, driving this, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was a Yukon, I think. Like the most fucking, ghetto car ever. This beat up old, 98 Yukon. And I get in and there's just vomit all over the side of the window. And I was like, what the fuck? It was like wintertime, so it was frozen.
Nice.
And I was like, what the hell is this? And he's like, oh, me and the boys went out and partied last night. And one of them puked in the cup holder. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? That thing ended up getting repoed, actually. He didn't pay it. And funny enough, the reason it got repoed is because he stopped making the payments on it because the fucking the radiator exploded while we were driving. It just blew up. My dad's a fucking character, dude. He's definitely the person who made me who I am. The fact that I'm similar to him worries me. He's a good guy. He's just totally fucking nuts, dude.
This is exactly what I'm saying. You've lived a life, bro. Like anyone that's gone through shit like that and can still have a smile on their face, dude. That it shows you good character.
Dude, I used to be. When my kid got taken from me, dog, I was so depressed. It was horrible. I had just graduated college and bought a house, and I was
How old are you? How old are you? First of all,
31.
Okay.
I was so on top of the world because I was like, dude. I got my son. My son's gonna have his own room. Neither of my parents had a house growing up. My mom had a fucking what do you call it? A duplex, and my dad always lived in shitty apartments. And dude, at one point when I was a kid, my dad didn't have silverware. He just had paper plates and plastic forks. Our TV was quite literally on cinder blocks. It was like I didn't even realize I was white trash until I was 23, dude. I had no idea.
What, so you went to L.A.?
No joke. When I took a train out to Santa Barbara and I saw these are rich people.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing,
yeah,
I grew up poor.
Wait a minute.
And then later, but I didn't even really realize I was white trash. I just thought I was poor. And then when I moved to Texas, I lived with a buddy of mine, and we got in an argument at a bar one time, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well you're fucking white trash." And I got so mad, I threw a fucking beer bottle at his head. And I missed, and I hit the DJ. But
so it hit right here.
Yeah, well, you know, man, I never considered myself white trash until that happened, and I don't really like that descriptor for me because I don't try to be like that, but I definitely have. You know, Ross and Dan and all the drinking bros used to call me the biggest piece of shit in the world because, you know, I just don't really give a fuck. And that doesn't bother me because I know them. But, like, when somebody's saying
I get what you're saying, bro. I hear you.
It's like, fucking goddamn, man.
It's different. It's different when you actually put yourself out there on a podcast, dude, because it's real for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but, really... you know, I like to have a good time. And I you know, I am out of my fucking mind, and I've done a lot of shitty things. So being called a piece of shit doesn't bother me. But when somebody starts saying, you know, you're white trash, your buddy that says that. But anyways, yeah, dude, that's how I got to where I was at. But when you were asking me about, you know, like I've seen a lot of shit or whatever, and I still got a smile on my face. You know, when my son was originally taken away from me, I was like cripplingly depressed because, like I said, I had basically I felt like I was achieving the American dream. By going from kind of having a split, my parents were divorced, both multiple times. My dad got divorced from a stripper. My mom got remarried and got divorced. So like, there's a bunch of broken relationships in my family, and
you finally were doing it how you thought it should be done.
And I thought I had it in the bag, dude. Yeah. Oh. And then my kid gets taken away from me, and like half the reason I bought the house was so I could build a company out with a podcast studio, and the other half the reason was so that my son had somewhere to fucking live with me. And it just like was, I mean, I had literally just spent thousands of dollars on getting all this stuff for my son's room, and he slept in it for 1 week. And then, you know, so the carpet was ripped out from under me, or the tablecloth, or whatever the fuck people say.
I hear you. I get it.
So I was just fucking like super depressed.
How long ago was that?
I got back into drugs. It was 4 years ago now. I got back into drugs. When my son was born, dude, I quit drinking hard liquor. I quit, well, for the most part, I think. I
like you changed this stuff. Yeah, I guess.
Well, you know what I mean? I slowed down on the boozing. I quit doing drugs completely, like altogether. And every time I had him with me, you know, like I went out and picked him up when he was 2, and we drove across the country. I had him for like 2 months.
It wasn't hard to do. Like
it was fucking easy, dude.
That's what I mean.
You know how much your life changes when you have a fucking son or
when there's a reason. When there's a reason like that.
No, not even that, dude. Not even that. Your life can change for a reason, whatever. When you have a fucking kid, it's more than any reason you've ever seen in your ever felt ever in your life, dude. When I was in college, I took a bunch of clonazepam one night. Well, what happened was we made this like big cooler. I forget what they even called it, but we made a cooler full of booze and put fucking Klonopins in it. And we drank it. I blacked out. I got in a fight with this guy. I got thrown into a bush. I left. I went to this chick's house I used to bang. And she like wasn't there, or she was with another guy or something or whatever. And I was like pissed. And I kicked over all of her trash cans like, oh, fuck you, because I just got beat up. You know what I mean? And their neighbor came out with a handgun and pointed it at my head. And I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, shoot me in the head. What do I fucking care?
Put me out of my misery.
And I just walked right by him. That is prior to having a child. Once I had a kid, I'm like, oh shit, now I can't die. You know what I mean?
It's not just about you anymore.
Yeah, I got to make sure that I don't want this kid to be fucking fatherless and end up in prison and be some shitbag, you know? I mean, anyways, but yeah, it changes your fucking life. But I was so fucking depressed because I wanted to do a better job than my dad did. And dude, I used to just like wake up and just I would lay in the bathtub and just run the water and pass out in it. And I was dating this stripper at the time, and she heart of gold. It didn't work out, but she would like wake me up asleep with the bath water running over. It was fucking dark, dude. It was very I've had
my stripper relationships, brother. Everything's quite dark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't dark because of her. It
never is, dude. But whenever I've dated a stripper, I've always been going through a chaotic time in my life. You know what I'm saying? And you just remember certain things. It goes a certain way.
Yeah. I'll stop rambling about myself.
Oh, no, dude. I think this is the best shit, honestly. But anyway, what I was getting at was you're finally at a point where, dude, I've had a podcast. I know what it's like, dude. I've had a hard life as well. Combat, coming back from combat, being stuck on all the meds they put you on, finding yourself again, all that shit. Anyways, you're at a point where you're finally getting recognized for, your work. You may say it casually, but Drinking Bros co-signing you, dude. That's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to get someone to big up our work and like put us on like that. You know what I'm saying? You're finally at that level. I mean, I see the interviews you're doing, dude. Everyone does fucking street interviews, bro. You got to be a certain fucking personality to really get that like the last couple you had, dude. That content, it's just raw, real, and people fucking love it, dude. And that's that shit that spins.
Right.
But I mean, where exactly do you see Gonzo transitioning into? Do you see it becoming like its own show?
We're trying to get it sold to streaming services in January. So Joel and I are basically gonna run it up, dude. What we do that's different than anything is that we shoot the show, edit the show, produce the show, and clip the show all in a 7-day period of time. Nobody on earth fucking does that. We work 80 hours a week. We pull 2 all-nighters a week. Joel logged 97 hours the week we did Dragon Con. 97 hours. And then YouTube turned around and pulled it down because they said I was sexually assaulted. Doesn't even make sense that I was sexually assaulted. I hit up the support chat and I said, hey, I'm the guy in the video. I did not get sexually assaulted. And they go, yeah, we don't really give a fuck.
Oh, you actually talk to somebody? That's the first step, is actually trying to get a hold of anybody, bro.
No, it's hard. That's what makes it different. We shoot it and edit it and clip it and post it all in real time. It's the same week. It's all we don't shoot a whole season and then put it out. Like I said, the trailer for a show was fake. It was a fake, which, by the way, is the only rule I have for the show. The only fucking rule is that everything is real. We don't stage anything. We don't set anything up. We don't fucking cut anything mischievously.
You can tell that's all that's out there
nowadays. We don't do Gonzo. We don't do gotcha bullshit. It's all fucking real. I'm so fucking sick of everything being fucking fake. I love Barstool Sports, but I saw a clip they cut one time and they made it look like this chick was like cheating on her boyfriend by getting gangbanged by her brother or something. And it pissed me off so much because I still love Barstool. It's one clip. But give me a fucking break, dude. It's not about just getting clicks. You know what I mean? I want to see raw America. I want to see if the American dream is still alive. I want to see what people actually think. Not Fox News, not CNN, not MSNBC, none of that fucking bullshit, dude. My buddy Alex Stranger, he does what's called culture jamming. And I think that term may have been coined by Eddie Bravo. I'm not totally sure, but he goes to see he took his whole MO from Alex Stein, Prime Stein 99. Yep. They're friends. Stein kind of mentored him a little bit on it. And he just recently went to the DNC. He put a Rastafarian hat on. He said, I'm glad that that I was able to understand how the people of color community feels by having my wife's boyfriend, an African American, explain to me. He does this whole fucking bit. It's hilarious. You got to check him out. It's Alex Stranger.
I will.
That is the kind of fake that's fake, right? He's playing a character, but it's so fake that it's fucking real because he's making fun of mainstream thought and thought leaders. And we're living in such a clown world right now that the BBC reporter believed this guy. He didn't know that it was a fucking character. Nuts. It's insane, dude. So I try to do as much real shit as I possibly can. I do podcast stuff. Podcasts are a little bit different. We talk about what we're going to talk about beforehand, and we cut clips and stuff like that. But it's the Street Gonzo shit. The only rule I have is it's got to be real. And Joel's only rule for me is that I'm not allowed to drink. I was sober 5 months. We did a relapse in Vegas. Nothing bad happened. We were drinking the whole time, eating mushrooms, taking speed, taking fucking Anavar and fucking painkillers. Dude, that shit, Anavar.
Don't get me going about Anavar, bro. That's the God's milk.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's the nectar of the Lords. But look, here's the problem, dude, is that at this point in society, I almost think we need to put Anavar in the water because please. Pesticides, BPAs, fucking plastics, everything
What
is
else?
killing testosterone, sedentary lifestyle. What we're
This is real. This isn't a conspiracy. This is
well, yeah, of course it's real. Estrogen in the water supply from birth control.
I feel like not enough people like actually recognize that. They think it's just us
Fluoride.
throwing shit out there, dude. This is actually happening right now, real time.
Yeah, well, it's been happening for a really long time. Hopefully, I think that our generation. How old are you?
Turning 35.
Okay, so you're part of the millennials. The millennials have been subjected. Millennials have been subjected to the single largest mass food poisoning in the history of the world. All of us, black, white, brown, doesn't matter. Anybody in the United States that is a millennial has been getting poisoned for decades, since we were kids.
Yep.
And it has destroyed our country. I used to think that things like, freedom of speech and the Second Amendment, I still stand by those two being probably the two most important things. But my mind has recently been getting changed with foods. The food poisoning overall is I think the biggest problem, because it's killing testosterone levels. It's killing reproductive rates. It's changing the way people. Dude, if you have low T, your brain operates differently. You think different thoughts.
Completely differently.
So
You become a different person.
We have somewhere between 20 and 40% lower test levels than our grandparents. That's
Sure.
not fucking good. So
Hey, you know what? Let's talk about that clip that we were talking about when we first started. The one that what's his name was in the clown suit, the counselor.
Tim Walz.
Tim Walz.
The guy looks just like him. You know what's funny, dude? That's going viral on social media right now. And the first person who said that guy looked like Tim Walz was my mom in the comments.
Perfect. So
So what do you want to know about it?
Where are we? Where is this?
We were in Atlanta, Georgia. We went to this thing called Dragon Con. It's the largest pop culture multimedia convention in the country, with the exception of Comic-Con, but Comic-Con is more of a commercial vessel to advertise for Hollywood. So Dragon Con's our boys, you know what I mean? And I know that we're over here kind of, the guy's kind of a strange dude. I'm not going to say that he shouldn't be able to do that. I believe in freedom of
Not what we're saying. Not what we're
assembly.
saying. I believe that completely.
And I had a great time at Dragon Con, actually. I'm glad that everybody at Dragon Con had a good time. They seemed like good people. They were all very nice. Nobody was fucking rude to us. I got nothing against people doing cosplay or anime. So if anybody got that idea about me, that's incorrect.
And you two were just posted out like right where you come inside, just taking interviews or what?
Well, what we did was we stayed at this hotel. We pack all of our gear into a bag, and it's in 4 hotels. So Dragon Con started in like 1987, I think. There were 1,200 people at the first Dragon Con ever. Now there's 72,000 across 4 hotels. So you go from hotel to hotel. And a long time ago, I saw this video. I think it was from Channel 5 News. What's his name? Oh God, Andrew Callahan, the guy that does he is the god of street interviews. But he did a video at a furry convention, I think it was him, where they were talking about if they have orgies or not. And
I saw that.
It stuck in my head forever. I thought, do they actually have orgies at these things? So Ross sent us to Atlanta to do Dragon Con, and when we went, we hadn't had any sleep really, because we were in Chicago the whole night before, asking about gun violence and if the city's dangerous in the South Side and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, fuck it, let's just run it up with this question. Do they actually have orgies at these conventions? And we ran around talking about that, which ironically enough, the fact that that people think that the school counselor I interviewed is a pervert. I was the one asking about orgies. So really, I'm more of a pervert than that guy. But, so we ran around asking people about stuff like that. And I asked about costumes and stuff too. And we wanted to highlight and do an overview and spotlight the event, because sure, there's probably a lot of perverts at those things and weirdos. But, this is America, dude. You got freedom. We don't live in fucking communist China. In fact, if they had a convention like that in communist China, I don't think they would even let somebody like me come in and ask questions. So
No, they wouldn't.
So we weren't trying to bash those people for any means. Everybody we met was super nice. Even that counselor guy was super friendly with us. He gave us a whole overview of the event. But it did sit kind of weird with me that he's a school counselor. I don't know if I have mixed feelings on it.
And it's not because we're
honest.
haters either. I mean, it just comes down to, should kids be around that?
I don't think so.
You know?
I don't think they should.
I don't either.
Here's my take on this. If you're around kids, you should be a person that the parents of those kids want that kid to grow up to be like.
Period.
And I don't want my kid growing up to go to cosplay at anime conventions. No offense to those people, but I personally do not want that, and a lot of people feel the same way. So if the larger consensus of if the large majority of people come to the consensus that they don't want somebody like that counseling their kids, we live in a constitutional republic. We're not going to have that person counseling our kids. Can he teach math? Should he teach math? Maybe. If he's good at math, have him teach math. But he shouldn't be counseling kids. My issue specifically is with the fact that he's a counselor, not a teacher per se. But even then, that's you being a little liberal. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I get flack from a lot of because I know a lot of fucking right wing people.
Hard right.
And I think
is Dan a hard right?
Dan is a fucking patriot. That's how I would describe Dan through and through. And he does not give up ground. He is. Dan and I are actually very similar in a lot of ways. He's just a stoic and takes time to think things through, and he's disciplined, and he's military.
Defiant.
If I would have went into the military, I would probably be just like Dan. I
respect that completely. Like his whole angle is exactly how that's how I feel.
Well, we need people like that. He's the he's the end of the line, brother. That dude is the end of the line. He's the kind of person who would fucking just
do the right thing.
More than that, dude. He's the kind of person who, when the ATF comes to your door and says, "Hey, do you have any guns?" he blows a fucking hole through their head. And I would say that I'd like to believe that I also have the balls to be walking that line as well. But I mean, Dan's the real fucking deal. I respect.
Really, what you're talking about right now is just someone that stands on principles.
Yeah.
Stands for freedoms. They know what we are entitled to as an American citizen, and they stand on. They know what that's just what it is. Period.
Yeah. This is what has me worried right now. To be totally honest with you. I used to be more like, oh, they'll never gun grab. They'll never do this. They'll never take freedom of speech. Not never, but I was like, are they really going to do that?
It's real. Yeah.
When I see Western civilization, Canada, Europe, well, not all of Europe, but, Britain, Spain, Portugal, France. I don't even like French people, so I don't care what happens to them. But when I see Western countries putting people in jail for free speech, taking their bank accounts, fining them, culturally ostracizing them, I see it being a possibility that happens in the United States, especially after people like Hillary Clinton say misinformation and propaganda should be criminalized. It's not protected speech. It's hate speech. It is totally possible that if Kamala Harris and Walz get elected because they're Clinton puppets, that they start enacting laws like that, and they're going to come after people like the Drinkin' Bros and Gary Faust and Alex Jones. They've already come after Alex Jones. They sued him into a fucking oblivion, dude.
Buried him, bro.
So I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities. And I'm being totally honest. I've never voted for Trump. I actually voted for Jill Jorgensen in the last.
I'm not even a huge Trump guy, dude. It's not even.
I am becoming a Trump guy because of guns and because of free speech. When I saw Hillary Clinton say that, it freaked me out because I thought, oh shit, I say a lot of crazy stuff. And in Canada, they retroactively go after people, stuff that they said when it was legal. And then they make laws that it's illegal. Look, dude, there's no such thing as hate speech or as protected speech or not protected speech. There's speech. That's it. That's all there is. And it's all fair game. You can say whatever you want. And the fact that tech companies like YouTube specifically is ass fucking raping drinking bros for no reason. We're not out here saying we're going to go murder somebody. We're not. That is you can't threaten to murder someone. That's illegal.
It's just not what's happening though.
But that's not what's happening, and they're fucking us over. And because we're talking about things that they don't agree with, that means that we live in an oligopoly run by technocrats. And when that happens, you get things like a feudal system where the kings and queens run the tech companies and run the banks, and they're not going to let us say what we want. So when they we live in fascist societies, I'm trying to say.
Weaponizing the judicial system to prosecute any and all challengers.
Right. But when you live in a system where you have companies like tech companies, YouTube, Instagram, which would be Meta and Google, and they work with banks, and they are they have the pockets of our leaders like Clinton, Kamala, et cetera, that is literally the definition of fascism. Fascism is designed as government and corporation working together. This is Hitler's wet dream. This is Mussolini's wet dream. And the funniest part of it is they race bait as well. So they're doing exactly what Hitler and all these fascists did. Trump is not a fascist. Trump is something else. I'm not sure exactly how you would define him. He's definitely a businessman, and there's certain aspects.
Businessman, man. I mean,
there's certain things I don't like about him for sure. I mean, we had to sue the ATF to get bump stocks back because of Trump, and he's full of shit on certain things. But like with the Israel stuff, I could give a fuck less about Israel or Ukraine for that matter, or Palestine. Don't care. But
why would you?
But the fact that we have, by definition, fascists running for office that want to restrict speech, take guns, put people in jail, and use corporations and celebrities as endorsements I mean, the fact that companies change their logos for Black History Month or Gay History Month, sure, they have the right to do that, and I got nothing against gay people or black people, but the fact that they're doing that in cahoots with the Democratic Party, that is fascism. It's not. It's worse than race baiting. It is fascism. That is how people die and go to re-education camps. It happens. The first thing that happens is they take the guns every single time. Guns is the most important thing. Guns. The Second Amendment is the most important thing that exists in this country. The only reason we aren't Canada, the only reason we aren't Europe is because we have the Second Amendment, period. And people think that the Bill of Rights was created with most important first and least important last. They didn't do it in any fucking specific order. It just so happens that the Second Amendment is the second one they wrote down. The Second Amendment is the most important. It's even more important than free speech, period.
Facts.
So that has Hillary Clinton talking about that has definitely pushed me into. I'm going to vote Trump.
Let me ask you this, dude. If you have that wide of a view on all this, then tell me honestly what you think about this assassination thing, dude. This is twice now. Okay, this to me means it's an organized team effort to try to assassinate Trump. This is bankrolled by someone, bro. So are we openly suggesting?
Well, the classic answer to that would be it's George Soros, right?
Yeah, of course.
I don't have any like insider knowledge on any of that kind of stuff. Dan does. I mean, anybody watching this, follow me at the.scary Gary on Instagram. And on YouTube, just follow Drinkin' Bros. I don't even care about my own YouTube channel, but. Other than me, follow Dan Holloway. He is on fucking point. He's got sources that give him inside information all the time, and he's broken multiple stories. He is who I go to for all of my info on things because, he has his own opinions sometimes that I disagree with, and he has predictions that I disagree with. But when it comes to information, I've never seen him
solid.
He's never been wrong.
If you're not following Dan Holloway, you're wrong.
He doesn't release anything unless it's totally on point. So yeah, I'm gonna vote Trump this go round probably. Seriously, I know
that's exactly what we're saying here.
When he went against Clinton in 2016, I was like kind of. I wouldn't say secretly, but I think subconsciously, I was like, I kind of hope this guy wins, but I don't know. I was like,
you're usually a voter though? You usually vote?
No, I don't. I
don't either.
Well, that's the thing. I actually am going to go vote. I'm going to see.
What I'm saying is, there's a lot of people that don't normally vote that are going to vote for Trump this time around, and I'm telling you, I'm in. Everyone in my generation really they don't vote because of just the fuckery normally. And
Dude.
a lot of people are on your side, right in the middle, right in a healthy independent.
You know, there's a website called voteforamerica.org, like the number 4. And they have statistics on there about the number of people who don't vote in each state. Dude, the number of gun owners that do not vote per state is fucking insane. There are hundreds of thousands of people. If every gun owner would have voted, it would have swayed the election.
Yep.
Like big time. So if you own a gun, go fucking vote, period.
If they have there's no way they can rig this again. I mean, never mind. I said that.
Sure, dude. Dude, look.
Yeah.
They're shipping Haitians into voting blocks. They shipped 20,000, an estimated 15 to 20,000 Haitians into Springfield, Ohio. Why do you think they did that? Is Springfield a booming economy? No, it's fucked. I grew up in Dayton. Springfield's fucking ghetto as hell, and it's poor, and there's no jobs.
Were you aware?
You know why they fucking sent Haitians to Springfield? So they vote Democrat. It's to sway elections. They want to sway Ohio. It's a swing state. It's obvious at this point.
What I'm saying is, were you aware when the administration made it legal for illegals to vote? Because that was so. I feel like no one even realized when that happened.
They shouldn't even be here. Let alone vote, let alone own a gun, let alone be on a police force. There's a police force.
Have a driver's license.
There's a police force in California that has illegal immigrants on it. They carry guns, but in California, it's impossible for a legal citizen to get a gun. I mean, give me a fucking break. This shit is so. We have been bought and sold so long ago, and they've been working on just absolutely carving out the inside of America and turning us into a shell company for so long, and it's finally fucking happening, and people have been talking about it for so fucking long. And it's finally happening, and people are like, well, maybe Alex Jones was right. Maybe Ron Paul was right. Yeah. Maybe all these people were right. No shit, you fucking idiot. Jesus Christ.
It's so easily turned
people
into
are finally coming around.
Conspiracy nowadays, dude.
I'm glad those people are finally coming around to, see what's going on. And I mean, dude, if it was up to me, we'd have if the Libertarian Party could get their fucking shit together and get a good leader in there, if it was up to me, we'd have a libertarian person in there every fucking time, because the founding fathers were libertarians. Go look it up. Classical liberalism. Like, dude, you can't have a fucking country that's we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. You can't have a country that is operating fluidly with fucking 10 different types of cultures in it. You can have different religions, sort of. You can have different ethnicities of people. There's no issue with that. You can have a fucking Mexican, a German, a person from Haiti, a Frenchman, even though I hate French people. You can have all those people in a group, and as long as the cultural zeitgeist is on point with everybody, they're all going to get along. Society will be fucking fine. But when you start having things like when people don't believe the same stuff, it doesn't work anymore. We believe in life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. That's what America's based on. That's what we care about. In God we trust was added on to money later. It's about freedom, and it's about liberty, period. Doesn't matter if you're Muslim or fucking Catholic or, Hindu. If you come to this country, you have to abide by the fucking governing ideology that already exists. You have to adapt to what we have. You don't come and bring your bullshit from your country like, well, where I'm from, we cover women's heads. We don't do that shit here. No matter how fucking annoying women are.
Protest about it. Like, what?
It's crazy, dude. And for that matter, you don't come here from Canada and tell me we're not going to have guns. Fuck yourself. Dude, I really just don't like French people, and by proxy, I don't like Canadians. It's the only group of people in the world I just don't like. They're so pretentious. They keep losing wars to everybody. They suck. They smell bad. Nothing they do is good.
All bad.
They fucking suck ass. What
did you just have like a shitty encounter with somebody?
I have a baguette. Suck my dick.
Did you just have multiple bad encounters with Canadians?
I lived with a French guy, and he got me fucking evicted from my own house when I let him stay with me for disturbing the peace because I smashed a bottle of wine. Oh, I'm French. Oui, oui. Shut up. But yeah, man, don't like the French like everybody else. Go check out the show, Street Gonzo. There's the plug. We can keep going, dude. I don't have a lot to do. I mean, I have a ton to do, but I'm having a good time.
You're good, dude.
Okay, so how about this? I'll talk to you about the next episodes we got coming up. So we did Dragon Con. That's the one that I think everybody should watch right now because it's super entertaining. Joel. So let me tell you about my producer, Joel. I don't even know what real name he goes by anywhere. I'm just going to call him Joel. He sold a movie at Sundance years ago called Bellflower. He sold it to one of the Beastie Boys, MCA. And he is an independent filmmaker. He's a goddamn genius. And he is the only person I have ever met in my entire life that works more hours and harder per week than I do. It is unbelievable. People are always like, man, you better not get Joel into any trouble. I'm like, dude, the guy's a psychopath. He's like crazier than me. You don't understand. He's just not loud. He doesn't paint a big target on himself. You know what I mean? But anyways, he sold this movie and he's worked on other stuff. He was a camera op on the fucking movie. I don't know. Have you heard of Avatar? The dude is a fucking genius. All right. He is the most creative person I've ever met in my life. So he takes these episodes and in a week's time, really less because we have to shoot and we have shoot days and post days. So he actually does it in 5 days. He shoots, and sometimes he does it in 3 or 4 days because we shoot for multiple days or we're traveling. So in 3 to 5 days, he puts these shows together, and they're not just YouTube videos. They're full-blown TV shows on YouTube. They're cinema. And he just kills it, man. Dragon Con's a good one because he has a bunch of effects, and like he does segments that are crazy. Some of it's fun, some of it's crazy, some of it's kind of weird. Some of it, there's one part of it that's like a minute of just like sort of a horror scene, but everything we do is real. And then where the fake part, I guess you would say, or the fun part that we add to it, we don't do fake shit. So to get eyeballs on the real shit that we do, we just spice up the editing a lot, or he does rather. I just do the interview string outs because I know what can go viral basically, and then he just
like at the level that you're at right now. Is the main thing that you're looking at is just views? Is that what just gauges the level of?
Of success?
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, always and forever, I'm a journalist first, then a producer, then a podcaster. Always. The truth for me is number one. Joel is an artist and he is a master of his craft. Art is going to be number one for him. So if I can creatively tell the truth and he can creatively create art, that's how we make the show. After the truth, I'll never put anything fake out ever. After the truth, then we go for things like views, virality, and stuff like that. But my mission statement to myself and to God is to always tell the truth because that's the only thing that truth always comes to light, dude. There's no point in lying. Unless you lie to, get yourself out of going to jail. But we go for the truth and then we go for stuff like virality and post clips and whatnot. The Dragon Con episode's great. It showcases the whole event. And then after that, we went to Detroit, which was kind of depressing, but we cut all the depressing shit out and put all the high octane stuff in. It's the shortest one. It's only 11 minutes. And we had a guy drop a hard R out of nowhere.
I know, I saw that.
It made no sense. I was like, hey, how's Detroit?
Right out of left field.
I'm like, hey, how's Detroit doing? How you think Detroit's making a comeback? And he goes, yeah, it's not something Flint. And then I said, are you, is the water still bad there? And then he just drops a hard R for no reason. It didn't even make any sense, dude. I didn't understand why he did that. That one's going viral on TikTok too, naturally. And then after that, we actually ran into some Arabs, or Canadian Arabs, in the Detroit episode as well, which was really eye-opening. One guy asked us to blur his face because he's worried that the Trudeau administration will send him to jail because they've criminalized speech there. And then right now we're working on Vegas. So when is this going to come out?
On my end?
Yeah.
Probably end of the week.
End of the week, like what day?
I'd probably get this out Friday night.
Friday night. Okay, so perfect. If you're watching this right now, right after you watch this, go to Drinkin' Bros YouTube, type in Street Gonzo, and look for the Vegas episode. Because the Vegas episode, I think it is the single greatest thing that I have ever shot. I legitimately believe that. It was fucking out of control. It's a prime example of why I shouldn't drink. but it is incredible. It is.
Was that the one? Was that the one that you had that black dude talking about the assassination of Trump attacks on Trump?
No. That was an old clip that I cut and posted because the second attempt on Trump. Which, by the way, you asked me what you think's going on with that. I didn't really answer. I think there's a rat inside the Secret Service.
Got to be.
It doesn't even make sense at this point. You want to know something really fucked up? There's a second assassination attempt on Tempt. Holy shit, dude. I'm supposed to do this for a living. There's a second assassination attempt on Trump in a very short amount of time. I think what's happening is that there's a rat inside the Secret Service. Here's what's fucked up. I got a guy that's connected to the Secret Service that leaked a little bit of information to me. Did you know Trump is not allowed to get rid of Secret Service? Once you have them for life. So even if he has a rat, he can't get rid of him.
Really?
That's what my source told me.
I feel like Trump would just can that, dude. He'd find a way to fuck.
I don't think that they can. That's what I was told. This is secondhand.
I gotta find this out.
If you clip this and it's wrong, I look like an asshole. I'm telling you.
I'll find it out first.
Yeah, well, that's the disclaimer. Put this disclaimer right at the end. I was told this secondhand.
This is secondhand one.
Yeah, this is secondhand information. But when I was told that, it didn't make sense to me either. I thought that doesn't make any sense. Get private security.
I don't understand how he hasn't gotten private security right now, dude. Well, he's had two attempts.
Well, dude, what I'm telling you, that would explain that.
It would.
But I don't know. I'm inclined to believe the person that told me that because they're a reliable person. They're ex-military.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man. So the Vegas episode.
So then you're almost saying then it's Democratic. It's coming from the Democratic side. If they're controlling his fucking Secret Service element and not giving him the
they
the
would,
dude.
Think about this. They wouldn't even give RFK his own Secret Service detail for a while. And he's a Kennedy. They all get killed. They put Tulsi Gabbard on that like no-fly list or some sort of flying lot.
No, dude, that's just what I'm saying. How can you, if you know this shit, how can you vote for these people?
They put Tulsi Gabbard on a watch list or something. And then the news says that it was that Iran was the one that sent that kid. Like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Dude, okay. Do you know who Kyle Seraphin is? He's an FBI whistleblower. I never even posted that interview. I got to put that out there too. I was talking to him about this. I said, look, I asked him if the FBI really radicalizes people and buys them guns and like will offer to buy them guns. He said that shit's all true. The FBI actually radicalizes people. The FBI is so corrupt. It's.
I'm pretty sure that's more CIA, bro.
Pretty sure no. I'm telling you, I got this from. He used to work he was an FBI whistleblower, dude. He told me this. The CIA does all sorts of other shit. The CIA does MK Ultra. They do coups in other countries. They're definitely connected to things, but the fact that people focus so much on the CIA doing shit, like the CIA coined the term conspiracy theory. Look up like Operation Mockingbird and some stuff like that.
I'm well aware of this.
But I'm saying for your viewers, but the FBI is way more corrupt than people realize. And also the ATF, the fact that they even exist in any capacity is fucking insane. I don't know if you heard of this thing called Waco. They fucking burned and killed children.
Did, dude.
They killed kids. How are they still exist? How are they allowed to exist? How are they not in prison? What, because it was a cult? What?
Third.
Anyways, dude, I'm pretty sure my phone's tapped because I did sue the ATF and we won. Well, I didn't. Cargill did, but I helped him and I was there at the Supreme Court. They probably tapped my phone.
You're definitely.
I'm talking to FBI whistleblowers. I will never kill myself. I have a child and I care way too much about saying fuck you to the government to ever kill myself. It'll never happen. It'll never ever happen.
Let it be known.
But they'll probably fucking McAfee me like they did my old
dude. That's a fact. Hey, listen, you talk to the man.
Yeah, that's another fucking video that if you're watching this, if you're more interested in political stuff and not crazy man on the street stuff, go check out my interview with McAfee. That is on my personal YouTube.
I did not know that you interviewed him, dude.
It was while he was on the run, dude. We did a Zoom from a Faraday cage. He was in a Faraday cage where everything's lined with all that metal shit.
Were you around his security team? Did you meet his security team?
No, it was over Zoom.
Oh, it was
he was in a Faraday. That's what I just said. He's in a Faraday cage, like in the middle of the fucking, like we're in like the middle of an island on the ocean, on an island in the middle of the ocean. It was nuts, dude. John McAfee's Gonzo, dude. Talk about fucking Gonzo. John McAfee's Gonzo. Fucking Alex Jones is Gonzo.
Oh.
I don't know, man. I'm just my fucking opinion on all this stuff with Trump. Like, I was always semi-favorable to him, like, oh, lesser of two evils kind of thing. But now my opinion's changed because there's been an attempted assassination on him. He's a convicted felon. He's got, which, you know, hey, birds of a feather. And he has Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Elon Musk. I mean, the guy's making the fucking American Dream Team. Even fucking Joel. It's funny, even Joel. Joel's never really liked Trump. And then when RFK joined him, he's like, all right, fuck it.
Coming on.
Like, fuck it, dude, who cares? Even if they don't get what needs to get done, like at a deep political level, the optics of people like Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Trump, a variety of diverse backgrounds, that is a message to big government totalitarian fascists that we're not dealing with this shit anymore. I think it is. Watch Trump get elected and be a complete fraud, and then I look like an asshole. But I said what I said, and I stand by that at the current moment.
RFK coming over to his team was huge, dude.
I've always liked RFK. The only thing there's a couple things about him. Same with Trump. There's a couple things about all these guys I don't really like. Elon Musk with the Neuralink shit. Weird.
I know. Weird. Sketchy.
RFK
Sketchy.
with some of his views on healthcare. Not a big fan. Trump has been kind of weak on guns. Tulsi Gabbard has some connections to the Council on Foreign Affairs, I believe it was. They all got their little things, but overall, the message that they're sending, I almost completely agree with at this point. And they're trying to kill him. They're trying to take him to jail.
He's being targeted.
Dude, Elon Musk buying Twitter is the greatest thing that's happened for free speech since the First Amendment. So, like, it seems like they're backing up all the shit they're talking. And also some of with Trump with the bump stock thing, there were some Obama holdovers. I mean, I don't know if it was totally his fault, but he did publicly say that. So I was kind of like, you're being a pussy. But whatever, everybody has their
overall, faults. Dude, overall, it's the direction that I think we need to be going in.
I agree. I've said before, I think on podcasts, I think I want to vote for Trump, but I feel like I almost have to at this point, dude. I'm worried I'm going to go to jail in 5 years if we have a fucking Democrat in there, because they're going to criminalize everything I'm saying. I'm going to go to jail for talking. And then,
honestly, bro, I really don't think enough people are paying attention to how much of a crisis the border is, dude. The fact that we have, and it's not just Latin Americans coming over illegal, dude. It's Chinese regulars, dude. Why are we not paying attention to this?
Yeah, and
they're buying land outside of bases, dude. This is wild to me.
Well, they're doing a sort of a Trojan horse type thing. What's happening is,
of course,
this is exactly what happened in Rome. Military overexpansion, ignore your own borders, get soft on everything, and then the transgenderism stuff always happens at the collapse of an empire. But what's really an issue here is these Chinese nationals are all men of military fighting age. They're like 18 to 25. It doesn't make any sense. There's also Middle Eastern people, men from the Middle East with connections to terror cells. Dude, I don't give I say this, and I think people that are conservative are like, Gary, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a fuck how many Mexican families come into the United States. Mexicans are Catholic. I get along with them better than I get along with most white people at this point in time, and they are my people, dude. I believe they're family, guns. They love America. I love Mexicans. I don't give a fuck if they're. I mean, I do still think that we need to have like rules and shit, but.
Bro, a lot of them are getting mad at the legals that are coming over right now because they came over the right way. Why do you
think look, this is what happens. Mexicans don't even like the Chinese or the Middle Eastern people or even some of the South American people coming in through their border. That's why they're like, get the fuck out of here. That's why they push them all the way up to our border, because they're like, get the fuck out of here, go to America. We don't want you, because they're
fuck are you.
Yeah, I mean, so like let me put it this way. When people stress about the border, For sure. We don't want 20,000 Haitians getting dropped in Springfield, Ohio. But the issue at the border is a little bit more nuanced, in my opinion. And I'm not an expert on this. I could be talking out of my ass, but this is my take. It's more surface level than other. I don't really like talking about stuff that I don't know about. So I'm kind of in a murky in the ditch here. But think about if you're living in fucking France and the people that are coming over believe in Sharia law. Bro, we have people coming over that believe in mariachi music, tacos, and they fucking like guns, and they wear sombreros. Bring it on, baby. I fucking don't give a shit. I mean, comparably, we're just in a... I like Mexicans, dude. I just got back from San Antonio. We were asking Mexican people if they can say the N-word. Episode's hilarious, dude. That'll be out in 2 weeks. But yeah, if you're watching this right now, go to YouTube, type in Street Gonzo, STEESTREETGONZO. The Vegas episode will be out by the time this podcast comes out, and then the next episode we will have will be Can Mexicans Say the N-Word? And I may or may not have gotten the pass from a black guy. So you'll have to see if I drop an N-bomb on camera. That'll be great. I'll get canceled, which is the best thing that could happen to somebody nowadays. Cancel culture has created massiv massive Tony Hinchcliffe's a perfect example.
Yep. It actually secondhand blows you up, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, Kill Tony blew up, dude. Little inside baseball for you. The reason that Tony came back from that was because I actually shot the full video and sent it to his management. That's how I met Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Good dude.
I'm about to fly out actually in a couple days for Skankfest, and I think.
What do you think about him, bro? Is he a good dude?
Is Tony?
Yeah.
He's exactly what he's like on camera. He's a dickhead, dude. That's why he's so fucking good at what he does. He's a master roaster. I think he might be. I don't know every roast master of all time, but dude, I think he might be the best roaster ever.
He's fire.
He's hilarious, dude. Being in green rooms with him.
That's all the time.
He's just such an asshole. He's so witty. It's like impossible to fucking keep up.
Can't do anything. Yeah.
Dude, when he roasts me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Fuck you, dude. I don't have a comeback to that guy. He's a genius.
Exactly. What are you going to say?
And he also has created one of the coolest YouTube shows of all time.
Would you do that?
No, I'm not. I don't do stand-up. I've only ever hosted stand-up shows, and it was for Uncle Laser.
He's hilarious, dude. I love that dude.
My best friend, dude. We did a Street Gonzo episode with Uncle Laser too. It's at the Stockyards. Check that one out. It's a couple back.
Where's he from?
He's from He's from somewhere in East Texas near Houston.
Gotcha.
He's a fucking hillbilly, dude.
I know, dude. He's hilarious.
He's the only person I've ever done stand-up. I didn't really do stand-up. I hosted. So what I did was I would come out, start the show. A minute or two. Host. Yeah, do a minute, run some shitty jokes, tell some stories, get the crowd juiced up, just freak out and be like, yeah, make a joke out of my fucked up train wreck of a life, talk about my felony, talk about my kid, talk about whatever, really. But I'll never do stand-up comedy. It's not my thing. I don't mind hosting for Laser, though.
I'd be surprised. I could see you doing that.
I'll host shows. I hosted a Valentine's Day show where we auctioned off dates, kind of like a slave auction in a weird way. It's kind of fucked up.
Has it always gone smooth for you, though, I've
never had a bad one ever. I actually got arrested when I was on tour with Laser. Wait, that's what this mugshot's from. I totally forgot.
Can you tell that story at least?
We were in Pikeville, Kentucky, kind of in the holler, real hillbilly shit, kind of not where Mothman's from, but the kind of place where Mothman's from.
Mothman, okay.
Mothman. And we were on a bender, dude. I don't know if you guys know this about Uncle Laser, but he does more cocaine quite literally than anybody I have ever met, dude. Dude, 2 years ago, I was partying super hard with fucking him and my buddy Bobby Flacco, lead singer of this band called Nether Hour. They used to actually close out the show. They did the after parties for Kill Tony. They've actually been shouted out on a Rogan, if I remember correctly. Check out Nether Hour too. Their music's great. But we used to party so hard, dude, that I was fucking out of control because I had just lost my court case. It was a 2-year-long court case. Broke up with my ex. My friend Adam Hartle, he was the one who he was a very important piece to the Austin, when the Austin comedy scene first started blowing up when Rogan moved out there. Adam Hartle, R.I.P., big important piece of that scene. We were drinking at my house, and after he left, he had a heart attack and died. I didn't. He actually had a heart condition that I did not know about. He never told me, so he wasn't even supposed to be drinking. And I guess he didn't tell me because he just liked drinking with me so much. Because when I tell you that I was fun to party with, I was fun, but it was fucking my life up.
Take a lot out of you, yeah, of course.
But I was fucking, dude, I was taking pain pills, I was taking speed pills, I was fucking drinking whiskey and tequila and taking amphetamines and snorting coke, and I was injecting ketamine, and then I ended up having a heart attack. At 29, I had a heart attack, and then I was like, all right, I got to sober up. So I sobered up for a month and then started drinking again. And then a couple months later, I got, I couldn't breathe. I had fluid in my lungs. It might have been like a real severe case of pneumonia, but I had fluid in my lungs. My oxygen got down to like 87. I passed out, like nearly passed out on the floor at a CVS.
Terrifying.
It's a long story. Point is, Laser does a lot of cocaine, dude, and we were in Pikeville, Kentucky, and we were fucked up, partying, drinking, doing blow, and I was leaving this bar, and I said, dude, if I'm gonna host this show tomorrow, it's midnight. I can't keep doing this. I got to go home to the hotel. My dad was chauffeuring us around. I said, fuck it. I leave. I forgot I had a cup in my hand. I had a plastic cup. I had like 4 drinks, maybe 5 drinks, I think. I had an empty plastic cup. It had ice in it. I walked out of the bar. I threw it on the ground. Cops fucking pull up, 2 SUVs, and cuffed me for littering. They took me to jail for littering, dude.
Yeah, you serious?
And you know what's crazy? They let me out after 4 hours. My dad picked me up, went and got more beer, went back to the party. And
they just did that? You weren't being a dick at all?
No, my dad actually was the one that got me arrested because he started yelling at the cops. He's like, "What's your problem? We didn't do anything." And my dad was right, but he's Italian. He thinks you can just like yell at people.
To let them know.
I had court like a couple months later, and I called them and I was like, "Hey, do I have to actually go to court for this?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I thought, you guys took me to jail for 4 hours for littering and fined me, and I still have to go to court. Like Pikeville, Kentucky. If I could give one example of the justice system being a piece of shit, just on a very micro scale, that would be it. Somebody litters, give them a fine. Don't take them to jail. If somebody litters and their dad yells at you, still don't take them to jail. Oh wait, you still took them to jail? Don't make them go to court. I call the court. They say, well, I don't know if we're doing Zoom court. Well, I'm not going to come in person all the way to Kentucky. So I was like, can we figure out a way to do that? They said, yeah, you know what? We will let you do Zoom. You're in Texas. I don't think they realized I was in Texas. I call into the Zoom court the day of court like 15 times. I leave voicemails and everything. They don't answer. They give me a warrant for my arrest because I didn't show up at court when I fucking called 15 times. Dude, that shit is so fucking annoying. Look, I've had problems with the cops my entire life, and I'm not going to sit here and say, fuck the police. I'm not saying FTP. I'm definitely also not saying back the blue. But
there are some prick cops, dude.
Dude, fucking talk about a sack of dog shit. Fuck that guy. I hope he fucking gets beat up on public transportation.
Sucks because you can understand why they have a shitty name because of guys like that. Dude,
literally.
It's true.
Dude, one bad apple does spoil the bunch. If y'all got a bad cop in a police department, take him into the shower, beat the shit out of him with a bar of soap and a sock. Beat him until he quits. Because when you have bad cops, it fucks up everything for everybody. Dude, when I was a kid, I respected the police. I thought they were cool. And then I got older and I was like, they treat me like shit? I wonder how they're treating fucking black people, dude. Like, what the fuck? Because black people do get treated much worse by the cops than the average person. But anyways, dude. All right, I got to drink another cup of coffee and get back to work, dude. It's good talking. I told you 45
minutes. Yeah, you as well,
minutes.
man. I'll get some clips out tonight, and we'll catch up again.
Yeah, man. And everybody watching, I just want to say one thing. So if you're in the conservative or libertarian or even a moderate that leans that way and you're in that realm on social media, don't be scared to comment how you feel. Don't be scared to retweet things. Don't be scared to like videos. Don't be scared to send them to people that you disagree with. Look, you can send videos that you like to your friends that agree with you all day. Cool, yeah, let's all have a big circle jerk. You got to send that shit to people that you are friends with that you don't think will like it, and then have a conversation about it. Because the only way that any conservative or libertarian ideals are getting out there is by people like you sharing them with people, period. Because the algorithms, with the exception of Twitter now, because Elon Musk owns it, the algorithms on Instagram, Instagram is Meta. That's Facebook and Instagram. And on YouTube, which is owned by Google, they do not like our content. And it is an election season, and they will not push it. They'll throttle all of it. The only way people see it is if you personally send it to them. It's very important. We're in a culture war. It needs to be done. Otherwise, we're going to start losing rights, which is terrifying because I'm going to end up in jail. So that's what I got.
Yeah, you got no more room on the back of that shirt for another one of those, dude.
Yeah, I mean... Dude, that's not even funny, man. Fuck. All right, I'm insane. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry if I took up the whole show just rambling like a psycho. I think you got some. No, we got some gems in there. Don't worry. I was gonna say, I think you got some good traction on social media. You got 4,000 or 5,000 followers, right?
Slowly, I'm getting there, dude.
Dude, it's like that until you have something pop. So, I mean, I think you got some people that support you, is what I was going to say. If you got that many followers, some of them probably really support you, so keep doing what you're doing too, because
appreciate that, man. It means a lot, seriously.
It's a fucking grind, dude. I mean, I'm not kidding. I work 60 to 80 hours every week.
You got to stay on it, dude.
Well, I'm donating my fucking body and soul to the American people.
Do you ever come up north?
To where?
Like Mass, Connecticut, New York?
We haven't been to the Northeast yet. Dude, my dad's family is all from Syracuse, and we still haven't made it up there, upstate New York.
You should do a street Gonzo in Boston, dude. You would kill it.
Multiple people have told me to do that. We got to find a good... Send me an event.
Bro, I'll open the door for you to go somewhere great.
If it's before January, send me any events that are happening. Dude, if we could go up there to do some sort of Christmas thing.
What I'm saying, dude, that would be huge.
In Boston, where it's all snowy, and that'd be awesome.
Forget about it, dude. I know exactly where you go. Come on, dude.
You fucking goddamn. Wait, what's the word that people use to make fun of people from Boston?
Huh?
No. Like, is there like a slur for people from Boston?
I don't think so.
I'll come up with something and get back to you.
Masshole, Boston.
Yeah. I love that, dude. I love it, dude. All right, man. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, everybody follow all this shit. And
what's your YouTube, bro? Plug your YouTube real quick.
My YouTube's just Gary Faust. Okay. But I don't even give a fuck about my YouTube, because Ross told me that if I can get the Drinkin' Bros channel to 500K, he's gonna lease me a purple Dodge Challenger Hellcat, which I really yeah. So when I started, I think we were at 230, and now we're at 252 in 2 months. So I got 22,000. You know when I told him, because originally he texted me and he goes, "How's your truck running?" And I was like, I mean, it's like fucked up, but I keep fixing shit on it myself. I'm going to keep it going. I got to keep it going. That truck I bought that with the money that my granddad left me. I'm going to keep fixing this thing until the day I fucking die or hand it down to my kid. And so I'm like, dude, how about you just get me a purple or a fucking Dodge Challenger Hellcat? And he goes, "Gary, you are the blackest white dude I've ever met in my life. You're behind on child support. You got a felony, and you want to drive a fucking Hellcat." He's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Anyways, dude, that's what I got, man.
Cool. Appreciate you coming on, man. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
You too.